Alex, yes.
Well, hang on. I'm going to come to Alex in a sec.
Okay, all right, I'll wait.
Well...
Would you mind waiting?
Well, actually, I don't know, no. Carry on.
It's you, mate. I'm just going to...
I was going to make the point, Alex, that something very different happened with Prince Harry was that he was in a relationship with a woman who was very different. And they felt that the press then turned on them and was racist.
They have had an overwhelming amount of negative press. You know, I watched the program yesterday, and yes, they had some great press around the wedding, but what press is going to trash someone's special day? There was bad press around the engagement, before the engagement, and everything that has followed since has been incredibly damaging, quite clearly to Meghan's mental health and also to Harry. And I hear Piers say that, you know, William has gone through the same thing. But do you know what? Siblings experience tragedy in their life, and one will be absolutely fine and brush it off, and the other will not be able to deal with it so strongly. And that's clearly what has happened with Prince Harry in this situation. He walked behind his mother's coffin at a tender age in front of the globe. That is going to shape a young boy for the rest of his life. So I think that we need to all take a step back. And I understand that you don't like Meghan Markle. You've made it so clear a number of times on this programme, a number of times. And I understand that you've got a personal relationship with Meghan Markle, or had one, and she cut you off. She's entitled to cut you off if she wants to. Has she said anything about you since she cut you off? I don't think she has, but yet you continue to trash her.
Okay, I'm done with this.
No.
Sorry, no. Sorry.
So, do you know what? That's pathetic.
You can trash me, maybe not mine.
No. I'm being...
Sorry, can't do this.
This is absolutely diabolical behaviour. I'm sorry, but Piers spouts off on a regular basis, and we all have to sit there and listen. 6:30 to 7 o'clock yesterday was incredibly hard to watch. Incredibly hard to watch. This, you know, he has the ability to come in here and talk from a position where he doesn't fully understand.
Okay.
And I'm absolutely...
I think we need to just all take a break. Well, clearly what that interview has done is it has raised a lot of emotion, a lot of tension, and there are enormous issues at stake here, very important issues.
I don't think there are issues that we can't overcome.
Yeah.
Yeah, but what we need to do, Alex, is talk about them in a civilised manner, given we work at the same show, on the same team. You're launching into a pretty personally derogatory monologue.
No, I wasn't.
One of your colleagues isn't probably the best way to go about it, all right?
Piers.
So, sorry, much as I'd like to sit here taking abuse from you for hours on it, that's not going to happen.
Back up for 1 second and let me finish. I'm not trying to come on this show and take you down, tear you apart.
That's exactly what you tried to do.
That's not...
And I'm just not prepared to do that.
Piers,
I'll take it from people outside. I'm not going to take it from you as one of our team.
Piers, just because we're on the same side doesn't mean we have to have the same view.
No, you can express your view without being personally derogatory.
Listen, the thing for this whole situation is very personal for me. And I'm not by no way, shape or form accusing you of being a racist. You know, I have the luxury of knowing you on and off screen, and we've had conversations. I know where you stand on things. I'm not...
Let's just make that clear, that you do have these conversations all the time.
All the time. All the time. And I've got a great amount of respect for you, Piers.
I wanted you on the show today because you sent me a really thoughtful and nuanced message about all this. And I thought we could have a thoughtful, nuanced conversation.
Well, let's have that thoughtful, nuanced conversation, because that's important.
Of finding a different way to explain, not to you, but to so many people, on why what is being said is so wrong.
Right.
I've walked into institutions as the only person of colour and experienced covert and overt racism on so many occasions. And why the Meghan interview really resonates with me is because an ex-work colleague, not of this show, asked me if I was worried about the shade of cocoa that my son was going to come out.
Right.
So I fully understand the hurt that is behind all of that.
Right, let me ask.
And when you're mixed race, what you find, in my personal experience, and there may be other people that may come forward and say this, is that when you are a lighter shade of black, people gain confidence and feel that they can say things to you that they wouldn't say to a black person.
That's such an interesting point.
And that is my experience of all of this.
Right. And by the way, I completely respect that. Right, and that's why I wanted to get you on the program today. It was my suggestion to have you on to talk about this.
But Piers, and thank you so much for having me on the program. I really appreciate it. But I just want you also to be aware of the power of your words. And I'm not saying that you're a racist, but what are you saying? Do you know what I honestly feel? I feel as though, because of your previous relationship with Meghan Markle, you've sometimes...
I didn't have a relationship with Meghan Markle.
You met up with her, you knew her.
I knew her briefly. Right,
so we joked about it on the show.
All that did was... So I'm allowed to speak.
Okay, talk.
All that did was inform me that she's a bit of a cut and run.
Right.
Throughout her life, and all her family, her father, her ex-husband, her ex-friend, they've all been cut out of her life, right? And it's an interesting observation that I happen to be one of those people.
An interesting observation, but I do feel...
Right, can I finish
this situation that you are struggling...
Guys, if we're going to have this conversation...
You've got to let me talk.
I talk.
Right. Can we talk about the programme? It doesn't really matter what I think of Meghan Markle. It doesn't matter whether I believe her or not. What matters is the damage that she is accused of doing to the royal family. And let me ask you honestly, on the issue of race, she has now got the whole of America and the worst of the world, frankly, looking upon the palace, the monarchy, the Queen, everyone in the royal family as a bunch of racists. And it all comes down to two things that she said in the interview. One is something she didn't hear, but Harry reported back to her, that a senior member of the royal family that wasn't the Queen or Prince Philip, so presumably is either Charles or William, we would hazard a guess, has made a comment to Harry about what colour skin his baby may be if the relationship progresses.
Okay, but there was concern about the way in which that question was asked.
That's my question for you. She said there was concern. Harry didn't say that. And my question for you is this, and it's a straight question I think a lot of people are asking, because you've been in this position, right? And you've been equally offended.
On the receiving end of that.
Is there a qualitative difference between somebody perhaps innocently saying to you, out of interest, if you have one parent is white, one parent is black, you know, what colour could your baby be? Let me finish. What colour could your baby be? Is there a difference between that question phrased in that innocent, perhaps, way, and somebody doing it in a tone that says, well, how dark is your baby going to be? Well, I think in a derogatory, perhaps racist tone.
Exactly, and there is a difference. But what we're getting from the interview is that it was said in a negative way.
He said that, but he didn't, did he?
Listen, stop separating Harry and Meghan. They are a team, quite clearly. A very strong team. And I do believe that she backs him up and he backs her up.
Right.
So, and like I said, tone and language is everything.
But is there a difference? Okay, but let me ask you,
the key word was, are you worried?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
But that to me is
and
racist.
There's a big difference.
That to me is racist.
But that's what she
is racist.
Do you think it's racist? This is a legitimate question many people have asked. Is it racist, do you think, if for argument's sake it was William or Charles? Let's not put a name to this person. We don't know. And part of the problem, and I know you agree with me about this, it'd be easier if they just said who it was.
Right.
Right? I'll come to that. But is there a difference? If it was said, perhaps in all innocence, right, and they just said, oh, what colour baby might you have, without any suggestion of it being a concern or a worry if it had darker skin, would that in itself, would just the question be racist?
That in itself is fine, but you have to think about how it feels on the receiving end, because what we're speculating is as to how that message...
I don't know how it was communicated.
Right,
what I would say to you is, if it was done as a worry or concern...
We also have to take into consideration how it felt. The other thing that we also have to think about, and I've publicly said this on Twitter, Piers, I agree with you now that I feel that they should have named the person, because all it's led to is all of us asking loads of questions, and I personally am looking at the royal family as to which one could
Who's the racist, yeah.
Who's the racist? But again, we have to also just take a step back. Do you know how much courage it takes to actually speak about racism, to actually call it out? Because I've been in situations where I haven't called out every single bit of racism that's happened to me based on how I've been treated or how it was handled in the past.
Because you're worried about a backlash.
And you're also worried about a backlash. And there will be people that will treat Harry and Meghan differently because they've spoken out.
Okay.
But this is the whole thing. We've got to get comfortable talking about the uncomfortable. And that's why it's important for me and you to have this conversation.
Right, but let's just not make it personal. It's fine.
It's not...
You made it personal. But let's move on.
You know what? It's hard because,
Alex,
you know what? We talk